Welcome to the Sleeman Center in downtown Guelph. We are here for the Roller Derby Association of Canada Eastern Regional Championships. My name is Lightning Slim. I am here with my good friend AK 40 Ounce, and we are here today to present to you the championship game between the Forest City Derby Girls and the Bay Street Bruisers of Toronto Roller Derby.
And it has been an exciting tournament so far. These two teams progressing through. Forest City with a bye in the first round, defeating the Bootleggers last night, moving on, and the Bruisers from Toronto defeating the Misfit Militia. These two teams have secured a spot at the championship tournament, but right now it's all about who's going to win the big trophy here today.
That's right, AK. We've seen a tremendous amount of hard-hitting, fast derby action, fantastic bouts all weekend long. But all the excitement has led us here and now.
That's right, and two very exciting teams. All right, we're going to go to a derby demo for all of you new fans out there. So if you would please hang out right here on Canuck Derby TV for this bout, and we're going to introduce the game to the newer fans and for those of you who may have forgotten a few things.
Welcome.
The basics of flat track roller derby, brought to you by the Hammer City Roller Girls. The game of roller derby is played on roller skates. The players wear helmets, elbow pads, wrist guards, knee pads, and not much else. The track is flat, not banked. Each 30-minute half is broken down into shifts called jam. The group of 8 players at the front is called the pack. The pack is made of players who play the position of blocker. Behind the pack is the 2 jammers. The jammers are the most important players on the track and are marked by a large star on their helmet. When the whistle blows, the jammers try to skate their way through the pack and out the other side, but they will be met with the hips, booty, and shoulders of the opposing team's blockers. When 2 bodies make contact on the track, this is called a block. Once the jammers have skated their way through the pack the first time, they're ready to begin scoring. They earn a point every time they legally pass a member of the opposing team. The team with the most points at the end of the game wins. The jammers will fail to earn points if they pass the opposing blockers illegally. Any player who performs an illegal block will earn a penalty. So what's illegal? Elbows, tripping, back blocking, and passing out of bounds. Any player who receives a major penalty has earned a trip to the penalty box. The jam ends when the lead jammer places her hands on her hips, or when 2 minutes has elapsed. 30 seconds later, a new jam begins, and the whole thing starts again.
And that's the basics of the game. We'll explain a little bit more as we go on. Thank you for joining us or joining us again. This is the championship bout at Dames of Thrones between Toronto's Bay Street Bruisers and the reigning champions, the Forest City All-Stars, Lightning Slim.
The Bay Street Bruisers now taking a knee. They are doing that so that when the jam begins, the jammers will be released immediately. Here they come. Ballerina in the blue, skating for the Bay Street Bruisers. She faces Mighty Thor, wearing number 4 in the white for Forest City.
And
AK.
A great fight up front by Ballerina. Nice effort right there. She had one blocker to beat. It was not easy, but she pushed through. And now you see the speed of Ballerina on the open track as she comes back around. Meanwhile, the Forest City jammer Mighty Thor is out on her initial pass as well. Back in the pack, though, Ballerina easily around the outside, calls it off by placing her hands on her hips, picks up 4 quick points, and that is the jam. Right now, 4-0 to open things up in favor of the Bruisers.
It's exactly the first jam the Bruisers wanted, AK. They put up a 4-0. And, of course, the clock not stopping as we reset the players on the track. A new line brought out, and we're ready to begin again.
Both teams lined up in front of the jammers. Not on a knee, though. Both teams kind of looking back and forth. Are we going to start this? And Toronto will take a knee and send one of their blockers out, and that will create a no pack, releasing the jammers, and first through is Forest City.
That is Torquemada with lead jammer position. She now has the option of calling off the jam whenever she wishes. Having made her initial pass, she approaches the pack on a scoring run and will score a point for every opposing player she passes. Does so, places her hands on her hips, calls off the jam. Did she do so before the arrival of Belfast? Yes.
She did indeed, picked up 1 point right there, and Belfast lives up to her name. She has been incredibly speedy and an effective jammer throughout this tournament, so she is not to be trifled with, so they want to call it off as soon as possible. Right there you see Mighty Thor lined up in the white with the red helmet panty for Forest City.
And in the blue, it looks like Titmouse, number 1.
Titmouse part of a primarily 3 jammer rotation this weekend for the Bruisers. It's been Belfast, Ballerina, and Titmouse, mostly coming off the jammer line for Toronto.
It has been effective for them thus far. Titmouse now, you see her there, up at the front of the pack, engaging resistance from Forest City. She is fighting up against a 2-wall at the front of the pack.
Freezer Bum doing a very nice job along with her teammate out there to hold back Titmouse, and she does get around her shoulder, and she is out first. Lead jammer goes to Toronto.
Meanwhile, within the pack, Mighty Thor being struck down by the defenders of the Bay Street Bruisers.
And Titmouse finding her way back around to the back of the pack, passing one. Getting that jammer lap point right there is crucial. If you lap the opposing jammer, you will pick up a point for her, as well as the blockers passed on the track. If you get all 5, that is a grand slam, and you see Mighty Thor out of the pack on her initial pass. Meanwhile, Titmouse still fighting valiantly to pick up her 4 points at least.
Freezer Burn hitting Titmouse, putting her out in turn number 4, and forces her to call off the jam. She has 3 no points scored for Forest City there.
See Titmouse headed off to the bench right there. And right now lined up, both teams taking a knee in front of the jammers.
They're trying to crowd the playing field, of course, create a wall, and hope that their own jammer can negotiate that space. Those jammers are Ballerina and Torquemada.
And Ballerina will get out first, taking that inside line around the blockers and just burning out of the pack. Meanwhile, Torque fighting hard, a 2-wall of Toronto blockers, and you see the pivot right there bridging, meaning she is staying within 10 feet of the nearest pack skater, meaning that those skaters up front are in play. If they're not in play, they cannot engage.
Bodies on the track there. Some skaters taking a spill. They are quickly back on their wheels. Dollface Massacre holding the line there for Forest City. Ballerina has come around with a grand slam and approaches the pack once again, AK.
Ballerina coming up on the pack right there, looking for that inside line, but it was held up. She got knocked to the ground. It springs right back up into action, shakes off 2 blocks, and busts out front with a 5-point grand slam for the Bruisers.
In the pack, both teams setting up defensive positions. The Bay Street Bruisers holding back Torquemada as she moves to the front of the pack. She is pushed out in turn number 4 there and forced to re-enter behind the skater that put her out.
That's right, and the stat column for that blocker is going to give her a defensive block as well as an offensive assist, because that's a 5-point grand slam. She helped her pass that opposing jammer right there by sending her out of bounds. Great job by Ballerina making some speed around the pack.
And her blockers, of course, as you mentioned, AK, making avenues through which she can travel, making space for her to skate. She is in the pack once again. Dollface Massacre pushes her out, but she re-enters quickly. Ballerina now within the pack scoring again. Torquemada having not so great a jam, held up at the rear of the pack by the defenders of the Bay Street Bruisers, AK.
Nice juking maneuver right there. And the one thing we've seen from Ballerina, who gets taken out in the turn, is that she is so good at getting wide and low and lateral and just moving in amazing ways through that pack, Slim.
You saw Torquemada there on her posterior, seated on the track, but she was still able to place her hands upon her hips and call off the jam from that position. After being dumped by, I believe, mischievous Lady T, she decided enough was enough.
That's right. Bruisers right now with an early lead, 27-1. 6 minutes gone in this first half of gameplay here at the RDAC Eastern Regional Championship bout.
These two teams have both qualified to go to the national championships next spring, but this one's for bragging rights and, of course, a trophy here at the end of the proceedings this evening.
Both teams lined up in front of the jammer line. The jam has been started, but the jammers have not. What needs to happen is the pack needs to cross the pivot line, or a no pack needs to be created for those jammers to be set out from behind the jammer line.
Neither team wishes to yield pack position here, so things going to a very slow roll. And the skaters of Toronto, the Bay Street Bruisers, decide they're going to break things open by skating forward and spreading the pack out. The refs declare a no-pack situation. The jammers are released. That is Belfast and Mighty Thor.
Mighty Thor working to the outside, but being swarmed by Navy jerseys. Meanwhile, Belfast taking that inside line, picking up lead jammer. You see right there, Mighty Thor again looking for that outside line, but Toronto is just forcing her out and down right there. Great blocking from the Bruisers pack.
At the front of the pack, Mighty Thor escapes. She finishes her initial pass, but Belfast is on her scoring pass. She has one to pass right there at the inside line. It is the pivot with the striped helmet cover. Belfast struck down there.
Taking a tumble, she gets back up, puts her hands on her hips, and calls it off, and she will accrue 3 points before that one's all over. Slim.
And we see, and we'll see this no doubt throughout this contest, the skaters are rushing to occupy that jammer line. They want to create what is called a rugby or a scrum start. They want to spread themselves out across that jammer line to create a wall and prevent the passage of the jammer right off the bat, right where the jammers stand.
That's right, and the jammers will be started immediately as Toronto is down on a knee, and here they come right into the thick of things.
Those jammers, Mirambo and Titmouse. Titmouse emerging first here, has lead.
Mirambo working her way outside, and big hit right there, and she will slide down right in front of the penalty box. Nice takeout by Lady Scorcher.
Lady Scorcher's been throwing big hits all weekend long. Today, no exception. Here she hits Mirambo, but Mirambo skates on. Meanwhile, inside the pack, Titmouse is scoring, but she's taken out there, AK.
Big hit coming into the apex. Titmouse again meeting that resistance up front, but a nice move right there. She'll get out and around and call it off before the jammer for the opposing team can get back into the pack. She will pick up 3 points right there. Nice job by Titmouse.
You see Mirambo skating back to her bench there. Not a successful jam for her, however, she appears undeterred. This London squad from Forest City, all pretty experienced. And we prepare for another jam here.
33 points so far for Toronto and 1 point for Forest City. Strong start right here for the Bruisers.
I should clarify when I say Forest City is London, Ontario, Canada, folks.
Yes, not London, England, or London, Nebraska. All right, the jammers are back into the pack and coming out first. Nice job right there, shrugging off a hit is Ballerina, just speeding around the pack. Meanwhile, Mighty Thor out as well, trying to make up some of that distance. She's got about a third of a track to catch up to Ballerina.
Ballerina approaches the pack. She is on her scoring pass, immediately dives into the center, gets sandwiched between the defenders of Forest City. Enough is enough. She's grabbed a couple of points, and she calls it off.
So far, every lead jam has been owned by the Bruisers, and that's how you want to win games. You know, two very good teams, two teams with a lot of experienced skaters. You know, this is not the all-star team from Toronto, but there are a number of all-star players, and this is a home team that is used to playing together. So these two teams, I feel pretty evenly matched coming into this game.
Certainly. Both have offensive and defensive capabilities at their disposal. And we see here another jam begins with Belfast skating against Torquemada. It's a bit of a mosh pit there. And turn number one, still no lead jammer declared. And we wait for someone to make a break away from the pack, AK.
Nice job by the defense right there for Forest City, holding back Belfast just long enough for their jammer to get out and pick up lead. Torquemada, lead jammer, breaking the streak of the Bruisers.
Inside the pack, Belfast emerges also. Oh, a heavy hit from Mirambo there as Torquemada approaches the pack on her scoring run. Struck down at the inside line. She calls off the jam.
Big hit again from Lady Scorcher, just slamming her side into Torque. She hits the floor and then hits her hips.
As was explained in that video you may have seen earlier before the bout, the hit zones, the legal hit zones in modern roller derby. For our Canadian viewers, you'd be very familiar with the hit zones of hockey: torso-to-torso contact, no hands, no elbows, no tripping.
That's right, and no blocking to the back.
Another jam set to begin here. We have Titmouse facing Mighty Thor.
See two of those bruisers taking a knee just to get the jam started a little bit quicker right there as the pack crosses the pivot line. The jammers are in it. Titmouse with the lead right now on the floor. Mighty Thor being held back by a mighty wall of Navy. Nice lateral juking, fast feet for Thor right there, trying to go back and forth and find a little bit of room. She finds some room on the outside, breaks around, and she is out first. Lead jammer will go to Forest City.
There she goes, number 4 in the white, Mighty Thor. Meanwhile, Titmouse held up at the front of the pack by Anya Face. Anya Face, the last line of defense. She is outside that 20-foot zone of engagement, and now Titmouse is in the free and clear, but Mighty Thor approaches the pack. AK.
Mighty Thor coming up with a couple of blockers with her. They're going to go to the outside. Not actively playing offense there, preparing for Titmouse, and Thor will call it off as a Bruisers pileup occurs. Looks like 1 point will go on the board for each team in that one. Slim, so far, what do you see in 13 minutes into this game?
I am seeing a Forest City team that perhaps is a little under-jammered. They seem to be jamming Mighty Thor an awful lot. They don't seem to have the bullpen, as it were, of the Bay Street Bruisers, who are fielding 3 jammers very effectively. That might tell in the long run how the rest of this bout plays out, AK.
That's right. In this one, it's going to be Torka Mata, who has done the other half of the jamming for Forest City, and she is going to be up against Ballerina, number 905 in the Navy, spinning around the outside, picking up lead jammer very, very fast. So much fun to watch her skate. Just a great stride from Ballerina.
Torquemada not far behind, perhaps a quarter of a track, although Ballerina putting on tremendous speed with that stride you mentioned. She's in the pack now, glides on through and is up against a wall in the front, calls it off immediately.
Nice job right there. She went around the outside, took a hip check, but stayed up and called it off as soon as she broke free. But it looks like the call-off was late, and we are getting some noise from the bench because 2 points did go up on the board for Forest City in that one.
The Derby nerd, you see him there coaching for the Bay Street Bruisers. He had 3 fingers in the air. He had a different opinion of how the scoring of that jam should have gone.
What are you doing? I think it's just like the pattern.
So far, 29 points already for Ballerina, and we are not even halfway through this first half gameplay. 42-6 stands the score. Lightning Slim, what do we got lined up?
We got Mirambo skating against Belfast, both of them strong skaters. Mirambo usually used in a pivoting and blocking role, however forced into a jamming role by that short bench for Forest City. Now she's held up by the defenders of the Bay Street Bruisers. She falls now.
Meanwhile, Belfast being held up as well. Nice work by Suffragette, number 317 from Forest City. She had that inside line dominated. Belfast back to the back of the pack. Meanwhile, lead jammer is not awarded to Mirambo. She is out on her initial pass, but she is not lead jammer. That means it can go to Belfast, and she will get the finger of power pointed at her. And as Mirambo approaches the pack, it will be called off. Mirambo, extra burst of speed right at the end there. But yes, she does pick up 3 points right at the end there for 1 skater on the track and 2 in the box. And for all you little derby girls out there and derby boys, I want to tell you, that's one thing I can't express enough. If you're out there, when it's being called off, if you put on that extra burst of speed, don't hold up. Don't say, okay, it's being called off, I'm going to ease up. No, you put in the extra burst of speed because you never know how many points you're going to score.
Sound advice from Coach AK 40 Ounce. If you are the second jammer, never quit because you can always steal some points.
And a little bit more sound advice from AK 40 Ounce. I tell you, Delta Hotels and Resorts, if you want a great stay, check them out. They have been kind enough and very kind to us here at Canuck Derby TV. They put us up for the weekend. So thanks to them. And if you want your own fantastic stay, check them out at deltahotels.com.
You see the lineup there. A bit of a laugh shared between the skaters as they line up on the jammer line.
Some sort of, I'm guessing it's a reeling unicorn motion going on right there, if I was to guess.
What do they call that in heraldry? A unicorn's rampant?
And they have been rampant here at the Dames of Thrones tournament.
Indeed.
Right.
We're going to get medieval.
And it's Lady Scorcher up against Mighty Thor. Lady Scorcher, a pack presence all weekend, has done some great things blocking, and she has done a little bit of jamming in this tournament, but the hammer of Mighty Thor falls and lead jammer is awarded to the god from Forest City.
Wearing number 4 in the white. You see her coming around there. She has a different sort of stride. She takes small steps, but somehow that gets it done for her. She is around the track, through the pack, puts up all 5 points. That is a grand slam for Mighty Thor.
Again, she has a lot of power in those small strides. She makes quick work of the distance between the front and the back of the pack. And from the back to the front of the pack right there, being held up by a 2-wall. Last second hit gone in by Hoff, but she does not connect with Mighty Thor, who puts up another 5 points.
Lady Scorcher being held up here, and Mighty Thor approaches the pack, perhaps one last time.
Lady Scorcher being snuffed out right there, sent to the penalty box. She was not being clean, and they said you have to sit for a minute. Meanwhile, another 5 points goes up for Mighty Thor, and we have a power jam on our hands, Slim.
The remainder of this jam will be a power jam. She can elect to keep skating, or she can call off the jam and perhaps begin afresh with her next jammer with the rest of that power jam available to her. Mighty Thor is on a roll, and she elects to keep on skating.
That's right. Right now, with a power jam, you want to capitalize on as much scoring time as possible. And right here, she's going for a few more points. She gets around on another scoring pass after Titmouse gets knocked down. Nice offensive blocking from the pack. And another 5-point grand slam. Thus far, 25 points in this jam slam.
The penalty box filling up there, but that just means more room to skate for Mighty Thor. However, tenacious defense from the Bay Street Bruisers. They knock her down. She regains her skate and decides to call off the jam. A job well done by Mighty Thor, if I may say so.
Indeed you may, and now we have a 3-point game. Huge jam for Lady Thor. 30 points put up in that one. 6 grand slams for the Derby God from Asgard.
Indeed, and I will have to eat my words because I thought she was going to be overutilized in this contest and had not seen early success in this bout, but there you go, a 30-point jam. What do I know?
She's just getting warmed up. All right, in the box, you see Lady Scorcher standing. She has less than 10 seconds. That means they want to get things going. They did the knee start right there, no pack. And here comes Torquemada, one to beat out front, and she does it. She was out of play. Lead jammer goes to Forest City.
Torquemada had lots of room to skate because although Lady Scorcher has rejoined the pack, 2 of her blockers remain in that penalty box.
That's right, a shift of events right here in favor of Forest City. Torquemada hitting the wall going down. Lady Scorcher is out on her initial pass, but putting up 5 more points is Torquemada. A grand slam right there for Forest City. And it looks like Forest City has taken the lead right there, 44-42, and comebacks, Slim, have been the story this weekend. We've seen 40-point gaps just overcome in great runs.
Absolutely, AK. Lots of lead changes throughout this tournament. This bout is turning out to be no exception, and that is exciting with a roar from the crowd. Obviously, Forest City has brought some of the faithful with them, and they overtake, for the moment, the Bay Street Bruisers, and another jam begins, AK.
That's right. We've got Belfast breaking through on the inside. Nice fight on her way through, but she picked up a minor forearm, so she is not lead jammer. That means it is open for Forest City. She will get through, and yes, lead jammer will be awarded to Forest City, and she calls it off right there. Does Marambo, but it looked like Belfast had got back in there, and she does pick up 4 points for the Bruisers, and the Bruisers have retaken the lead by 2.
Belfast had passed 4 skaters. They then subsequently overtook her again, but those points cannot be taken away. She had earned them even though Marambo called off the jam. She already had 4 points in the bag.
You know, Slim, I got to go back to last night's game. The militia had the number of the Bruisers, and Ballerina was the breakout star right there. Belfast did very well, but Ballerina was just huge, and here we are seeing her jamming against Mighty Thor. Ballerina hit right there, but she breaks through on the inside. Lead jammer goes to number 905.
And there she goes. She is gone. Mighty Thor in hot pursuit. And the pack setting up defensive positions, looking behind them, waiting the arrival of the jammers. Now Ballerina quickly in among them, takes what she can and calls it off quickly as Mighty Thor was following along. And that is just a 1-point pickup for the Bay Street Bruisers.
Ballerina 100% on the lead jam. Every time she's out there, she has gotten the lead, and she is averaging 5.8 points per jam, and that is a solid, verging on huge number. Given it is early in the game, but we've got just under 10 minutes left in this first half, so it's a pretty decent sample size.
We have a new jammer for the Bay Street Bruisers. Number 1995 in the blue, it is Slam Wow. She will face Torquemada.
Slam Wow, a little bit of jamming yesterday. Not a whole lot, but she was effective. Torquemada, though, finding the inside line around that pack, coming around the turn, and the lead jammer goes to Forest City.
You see she gets the nod from jam referee No Ref X, and she just as quickly is around the pack again and is in amongst the Forest City skaters, her own teammates, and also the Bay Street Bruisers. She is scoring.
Slam Wow still having a hard time breaking out, being forced to the inside there by Suffragette, who gets taken down. Nice offensive block right there for number 35.
Torquemada, meanwhile, also taken down by downright Dirty Dawson.
See Slam Wow breaking out of the pack. That was monochrome with the big takedown, by the way. Slam Wow working her way around as the pack is tight right there, and Torque will not get all the way out, but she will pick up 3 more points before that one's all over. So it looks like we've got a tie game right now. Taking a look over at the benches, skaters, warmed up and starting to get a little banged up, I would think.
But some of these skaters would say that's just when they're feeling the most loose. Okay, on the jam line we have.
Looks like Ballerina with the star for the Bruisers. Nice move to the outside of the line, back cuts inside, and she takes lead jammer. And I tell you, that turn 2 right there has been crucial for lead jammers sneaking through on the line. Meanwhile, Mighty Thor held up in the back of the pack, the jammer for Forest City Slim.
Ballerina around the track just as quickly. She is inside the pack. She is through, and she has scored. Narrowly avoids a hit from Marambo there. Puts up a grand slam. 5 points for Ballerina, and as she heads into turn 2, she hits the jets. There is another gear in Ballerina, AK.
Indeed. The speed we've seen out of her is amazing, and more so it's the fitness of her. You know, you've got to have a solid core to do things like spin around like that and just roll around massive hits, as she is off to do. 2 points go up on the board for Ballerina and the Bay Street Bruisers, putting their score right now 54-47 for Forest City with 7:06 left in the first half.
I'm looking at the Canuck Derby TV chat here. You're welcome to join us, folks. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know how the bout is proceeding for you. It's on the right-hand side there. I see Annie Takers. She is also a Forest City skater, obviously not here at the tournament, but she pointed out that unicorn power comes from within.
Indeed it does. You have to dig down deep inside and access your inner unicorn. All right, looks like we've got Chronic headed off to the box for the Bruisers. We're going to take a quick break and be right back here on Canuck Derby TV. And we're back. We are going to start this jam out. Quick start from Forest City right now. Slim, who do we have on the jammer line?
Titmouse, one of the familiar faces, and a new face for Forest City, number 65. It is Roses. A big cheer for Roses. She has skated here for Royal City in Guelph also. A familiar face to the folks here, and she has lead jammer position.
Titmouse being taken to the inside hard. Infield hit, and she is still held up in the pack. Meanwhile, Roses throwing some of that body around. Nice knockdown right there, but she gets absorbed into the back of the pack, and Lady Scorcher will send her out of bounds in turn 2. Slim.
Roses feeling perhaps a bit overmatched after taking some heavy hits, puts up 4 points and decides that is enough, calls off the jam. Effective jamming there for number 65.
That's right. And one of the things, as we've mentioned, the rotation, not necessarily as deep. They're looking to other skaters, and they really have to play to their things that are good.
Indeed, these skaters,
Yes.
as you said, playing to their strengths.
Strengths.
And electing to do it by committee, and if they can do a repeat succession of these one-and-dones, they can do it by spoonfuls and pull ahead.
That's right. The jammers are released. Quick start right there, and the entire pack keeping tight around that turn. Ballerina fighting hard right now. She's already put up 32 points in this first half. She's got one blocker to beat, and as that blocker gets tripped up, she is out first and lead jammer for the Bay Street Bruisers.
Ballerina with her arms in the air, insisting she was skating fairly as Marambo fell. Marambo seems to be the author of her own demise, heads to the penalty area.
Ballerina primed and ready to go, approaching the pack, slowing down a little bit just to take in the situation before she springs into action. Right now, Suffragette, tough defense from Forest City, gets some help from her pivot and forces Ballerina out, and the call-off will happen. She picks up 4 points, though. No points for Forest City.
A nice response there by Ballerina to the vocal urgings of her bench to call off the jam as Torquemada was in the rearview mirror.
And the thing that we really have to express about that was, as she's slowing down, it's not about, being intimidated by the pack. It's about being patient, taking the time to let the situation develop, let your blockers do their job, open up those holes, and then jump into action and take advantage. Looks like we've got a skater on the far side of the track from where the jammers are lined up, and that's going to be Belfast over there. She is going to pick up her intentional fourth minor. As you see right now, we're in an official timeout as Minotaur flexes her guns. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We've got the rest of this championship out here on Canuck Derby TV.
What are you doing? I think it's just like the pattern.
It's not just about the shorts. It's about inspiring others. It's about having fun and making new friends. It's about getting hit down and getting back up again. It's about being a team. Pivot Star. It's about roller derby.
We are back, ready to begin the action once again. The Bay Street Bruisers taking a knee as the jam begins afresh. Mighty Thor spins around the outside and becomes lead jammer.
That little break right there, during that time we had a blocker go to the box for the Bruisers, so it is a 3-on-3 pack right now. Bruisers jammer Titmouse out on her initial pass as well, working her way back around, but Mighty Thor fighting with those last two blockers. She gets knocked down to the inside and she'll call it off, but Titmouse, great speed right at the end of that jam. We'll see if she picked up any points. Indeed she did. Great job throwing on the afterburners. 3 points scored for her, 4 points for the Mighty Thor.
Titmouse, with a jump over the apex of the track, just cleared that track boundary to avoid a major track-cutting penalty, landed fairly, and managed to steal quite a few points there with a tremendous burst of speed.
That's right. And let me correct my math right there. That was 4 points for the Bruisers, 3 points for Forest City. So Titmouse's effort right there outscored Thor, who had lead jammer.
Ballerina faces Roses on the next jam. The Bruisers electing to skate forward. They want to break the pack open. Each team with one skater in the penalty area. Room to skate for Roses. As she heads around the outside, takes a hit. She falls.
Aims to kill. Nice hip check right there, taking down Roses and clearing out some room for Ballerina. There she goes. Lead jammer for Toronto.
Aims to kill, and downright Dirty Dawson. A 1-2 punch. Deadly to Roses at the moment as Ballerina back in the pack once again on her scoring pass. Through once again.
Some great maneuvers there, Slim. Inside, outside, inside. She is just so fluid in her skating is Ballerina, and she picks up 5 points, a grand slam. Meanwhile, Roses has broken out on her initial pass, but Ballerina quickly approaching the back of that pack. forced to the outside right there, and she will call it quits as Roses sneaks up around the back. Neither one will score on that pass, and we'll take 30 seconds before we do it again. See Roses headed off to the bench there. It's interesting. We've seen her jam a little bit. I'm kind of expecting, Slim, to see other skaters being thrown into the jammer rotation for Forest City. I know that a number of them can jam. I don't know that they've jammed at this level of gameplay, but you never know who's going to show up in a tournament.
Absolutely. A lot of adrenaline going on here, a lot of pride on the line, and we have Torquemada skating against Titmouse. Titmouse not too successful in this contest as she has been previously in this tournament. We'll see what she does now, AK.
Right now she's getting knocked around a little bit, but she did fight through all of them. Torquemada being held up right there. She does break free just ahead of Titmouse, who did a great job, and she comes up and throws a check into Torquemada, who stays up and rolling. Titmouse putting herself at a disadvantage on that one.
She did lose all her momentum by trying to throw that hit against Torquemada. And Torquemada, I believe, passed one skater before calling out the jam.
She did not, according to the referees, so we have a 0-0 jam right there. We'll start this one again fresh. 4-on-3 in favor of the Bay Street Bruisers from Toronto. If you're just joining us, they are in the navy and gold and playing the Forest City All-Stars in the white and red. 67-54 right now in favor of the Bruisers. And I guess you could say, Slim, coming into this one, the Forest City had to be the favorite as the reigning champions.
They were reigning champions and as such had a bye through the first round of the tournament. However, that certainly didn't put any rust on them as they roared through yesterday. Having a bit of trouble with the Bruisers now is Mighty Thor at the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Ballerina doing what she has done all bout long. She cruises through for lead jam.
Nice job by Ballerina right there. Meanwhile, Thor is out of the pack as well. Those short, speedy strides versus the long-legged fluidity of a Ballerina. Nice job inside, outside right there. Gets bumped to the outside, but she stays in bounds, and she'll call it off as she breaks through the pack. Puts 4 more points up on the board for the Bruisers as the first half is ticking down. We'll see if we have time enough to get one more jam in. Of course, if we do get another jam in and the period time ends, Slim, what do we do?
If the period time ends but the jam has commenced, it will skate to its natural conclusion.
That's right. The jam always takes priority over the half.
And we've seen games won or lost in that extra time that can result.
Indeed we have. And we will get one last jam in this first half of gameplay in the championship out here at the RDAC Eastern Regional Tournament.
A rugby scrum start, lots of bodies all together. Torquemada faces Titmouse once again. Titmouse decides to wait a moment and get some new perspective on the pack. Suffragette lines her up for a hit in the meantime, and Torquemada at the front of the pack up against a 3-wall of blue, forcing her way to the front, pushing and pushing. If she can skate legally and push forward, she will be able to get through. No, she has cut the track. She has stepped outside of bounds and gained illegal advantage. She will sit for that. This is a power jam for Titmouse.
Titmouse picks up lead jammer as she goes to the box there. And right now, good opportunity. We are in jam time. And you see the shift maneuver right there from the Bruisers, forcing the entire pack to go to the outside, but nice recovery from Forest City, overtaking the front. Suffragette taking out nice offensive block right there. She has been a bane to Titmouse. Titmouse shrugs off a hit right there, and that's going to be a grand slam for the Bruisers.
Titmouse now skating in the free and open spaces as both teams jockey for position within the pack. The Bruisers attempting to form a lane on the inside, unsuccessful as Titmouse has to absorb a hit from Glamour Kissed and also one from Sociopath. However, Titmouse took a penalty on that, AK.
Yeah, in doing so, she wasn't paying attention to that line. She got knocked to the inside, passed 2 skaters out of bounds and came in ahead of them. You can only pass 1 to pick up a minor. If you pass 2, that is a major, and that's what happened right there.
Torquemada skates back.
She skated into the pack right there, came back out and back around. She picked up a minor skating out of bounds penalty right there, and right there fights through the Bruisers, gets out in front, and that is, I believe, her initial pass. Yes, as no ref X indicates by saying not lead jammer. That will end the jam. No points will go up on the board for Forest City, but 2 more will go up on the board for the Bruisers as we go into the half. Score of 78-54 in favor of Toronto's Bay Street Bruisers. Wow, what a first half. Slim, what are your thoughts?
Just what we expected. I think these two experienced teams, hard-fought, grinding defense, perhaps a little more elegant jamming coming out of the Bay Street Bruisers. However, the Forest City Derby Girls doing it by committee, putting up several jammers who are not accustomed to that role, I would say. However, they have still performed for their team.
That's right. Torquemada, Thor's Hammer, and Roses doing some of the jamming right there, most of the jamming for Forest City. To mixed success, Thor has been very good, and right there we see with a 24-point differential, Forest City definitely in this one, wanting to win it. There's a beautiful trophy over there. It's a throne of swords on the top of a pile of skulls, and who wouldn't want that adorning their mantelpiece?
Indeed,
Yep.
Who would not?
All right, we're going to send it over to Bob Noxious for an interview.
Well, I tell you, we're taking a look over here at Forest City. The coaches are scrambling to go back and work with the girls. And Marambo here, I know you know what's going on.
Oh, I know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Marambo, certainly no rookie to this game. Marambo, you guys, I tell you, you have an amazing game yesterday. I mean, Royal City looks like they might pull an upset, and then it's like you guys flip the switch and pull it all back together. I have a feeling that your team is not real nervous about this.
We are definitely a second period team. We kind of really got lucky that this tournament is a full game tournament. If it was a 20-minute tournament like normal tournaments, yesterday we would have totally bombed it. But we've got this the 2 period in our favor completely today. So.
And so, what do you know what they're going to talk about. You know what's going on out here. What's got to change for you guys to turn the second half around?
The scrum starts. We got to really get a hold of what's going on with the scrum starts, sticking together, basically just really hitting that jammer as much as we can, trying to keep her as exhausted as we possibly can and slow down the pack. We really got to slow it down. It's a pretty fast game today. So.
Okay, well, good luck, Marambo. I'll let you get back to the team. Thank you. This is Bob Noxious.
It's not just about the shorts. It's about inspiring others. It's about having fun and making new friends. It's about getting hit down and getting back up again. It's about being a team. Pivot Star. It's about roller derby.
And hello, welcome back to Guelph and the East Regionals here for the RDAC. I'm standing here with the Toronto coach, Derby Nerd, of course, who many of you know. Nerd, you've got it's been a really tight battle. You've had a couple of moments where things have finally broken open for you towards the end. You guys kind of came out strong. Forest City comes back on. Ballerina, pretty good skater, huh?
Yeah, she's really blossomed. Part of the reason that we built the Bruisers was to help bridge the gap between Toronto Roller Derby's house league and its travel team, CN Power. And it's to develop skaters like Ballerina, who we've seen emerge. It's only her second year skating. It's absolutely remarkable. And she's emerged really as a star on this Bruisers team. And our job is to develop skaters for CN Power. And I think she's an example, amongst others, of skaters who we are developing.
Well, and you and I've talked about this a little bit before. B squads kind of got started to let people travel but didn't give them any direction. You guys take the approach of, we've got house, we've got our all-stars, we got to do something to bridge it. You've done a nice job with that. This team really looks good. What are you going to do the second half?
Well, I think what we really notice is that when we play our game, we play a really tight containment kind of derby. We like to keep it a little slow, a little gritty. And when we were doing it at the beginning of the half and in the end, we were really flying. Just in the middle, we got away from that, played a little one-on-one. We're going to go back to tight derby.
Very good. You're right. It's all about a tight, innavigable pack. Thank you, Derby Nerd. I'm Bob Noxious. I got to throw it back to AK and Lightning Slim.
Thank you very much, Bob. We're getting prepared for the second half of this contest. The score 78 for the Derby Nerds, Bay Street Bruisers, and the Forest City Derby Girl All-Stars have a score of 54. 30 minutes left on the clock. And what do you think we can expect to see in this half, AK40 Ants?
Well, you know, it's been so unpredictable throughout this tournament, Slim. What we've seen is teams go on runs and get a little bit of a gap like the Bruisers did there at the end of the first, and teams have come back. Forest City already with a big comeback in this game, so I would expect to see Forest City trying to come out strong, Bruisers trying to play some more lockdown right there, and I really think, as has been the story, it's going to come down to penalties and just how smart the individual players are at making contact and not getting penalties and pack play overall.
Certainly we've been doing a lot of talking about various jammers and how they bring sort of that all-star quality to the sport. However, this is a team sport, and the jammers would be nowhere without the blockers to create space for them. And I think, as you said, it's about whoever's going to play smart. A look at the penalty bench there as we're going to be beginning with a power jam for Forest City. And here we go.
Titmouse in the box as the jammer for the Bruisers. Forest City looking to Mighty Thor, who picks up lead jammer right there, number 4 in the white for Forest City. Of course, the Bruisers from Toronto in blue and gold. Titmouse is out of the box as Thor makes her first scoring pass approach, takes a couple hits right there. Lady Scorcher puts her booty on Thor, and Titmouse finds her way through on the inside. That's her initial pass right there. Lady Thor breaks out and picks up 5 big points right there. A grand slam for Forest City to start things out, and that's probably what they wanted coming out of halftime.
Certainly a tidy start for them. Effective jamming from Mighty Thor, and they took advantage of what the abbreviated portion of that power jam that was available to them.
That's right. 4 and 5 point jams have been crucial today and yesterday as well for these teams. We've seen the big power jams, of course, so we've seen 30-point jams, 35-point jams, but it's all about capitalizing and getting the propensity of the 4 and 5 point jams. Back to the action on the track, though. Slim, who do we have jamming?
It looks like Ballerina, the aforementioned Ballerina, and Rose's Ballerina picking up the lead, as you see there, as Roses is at the back of the pack having some trouble with Chronic and aims to kill. They are laying a beating on her and refusing to let her pass. Meanwhile, Ballerina is inside the pack.
Nice maneuver right through a sea of blue, gets held up. Nice recycling by Suffragette, seeing her work those angles, getting the shoulder on. She has great balance up in front, but Ballerina gets around her, coming around the turn, and puts up 5 points. A grand slam for Toronto, Slim.
Meanwhile, Roses still stuck at the back of the pack, gets a little farther forward, but runs up against the front wall of the Bay Street Bruisers, who have effectively funneled their defenders from the back to the front to anticipate her.
Rose is now playing some defense on Ballerina. Ballerina getting just a step around her right there. Gets forced out to the outside by Freezerburn. Freezerburn goes down, though. No pass, no penalty right there. So she does pick up 4. It would have been a grand slam, but she did not pass her legally.
Roses takes a hit inside the pack, having some trouble with the front wall, and now the Bay Street Bruisers have recycled her. They have effectively engulfed her in the pack and pushed her to the back.
That's right. Big jam right here, I think, for Ballerina. And that is not the first time we've said that this weekend. Roses has been effectively shut down. I would be surprised if we see her jam again, at least for a little bit. Meanwhile, Ballerina up front, swooping to the outside, swooping to the inside, and getting her way around Freezerburn, putting up another grand slam, Slim.
Some beautiful zig and zag there from Ballerina. Roses escapes the pack at last and goes hip to hip with Ballerina. 5 more points on the board there.
That's right. Ballerina now switching to defense on Roses, who broke out of the pack. And you see her conserving her energy a little bit right there, but also using it in a different way. She's not burning around the track trying to beat out Roses. What she's doing is holding her back, killing some of that time, and also saving herself a little bit of, not necessarily effort, because it takes a lot to positionally block, but the afterburner, using up the fuel more or less. All right, with the score of 92-59, Slim, what do we have back on the jammer line?
It looks like a skater I cannot see, AK, from my current position.
An official timeout. We'll let them sort that out real quick, but we're going to take this official timeout to officially thank the folks over at Rollerbug. Rollerbug.com. They were founded back in 2005 and are Derby owned and operated. Rollerbug was one of Canada's first roller skate shops located in Toronto, but found worldwide at Rollerbug.com. We're going to take a quick break and be right back with this championship out here on Canuck Derby TV.
What are you doing? I think it's just like the padding.
Back to the action now.
Mighty Thor picking up lead jammer for Forest City, a 3-on-3 pack. Basically just missed the whistles right there. Lady Scorcher in there jamming, taking another turn at it for the Bruisers, getting hit by Marambo, but shaking her off and keeping going, finishing her initial pass. And here comes Mighty Thor into the back of the pack. You see Lady Scorcher making her way around right there. She has a defensive threat. But meanwhile, Lady Thor taking an inside line, and she will call it off right there. Nice pass for the Forest City ladies, and 4 more points will go up on the board for London.
Each skater has one player in the penalty area. Belfast, although it happened off camera, she was on the other side of the track. She took an intentional 4th minor penalty, what they call a poodle or a cougar. She will clear her slate, and that will allow her to jam clean whenever they utilize her next. That was her sitting in the penalty area.
That's right. And just to clarify, these are just terms that people use, poodle, cougar. We have hybridized the animal into the pooger. All right, next jam starting out right now. We've got Titmouse for the Bruisers up against Torquemada, jamming for Forest City, being forced to the outside right there. Tough defense by Cindy Dropher. Torquemada will find her way around, and she picks up lead jammer. Oh, big collision. What happened right there, Slim?
Bodies fly as Titmouse got tangled up with Andy Slamberg. And Torquemada comes around again, engages with the pack. The Forest City players throwing their hands in the air, insisting that they are not making illegal contact. And Torquemada trying to stretch out the action and get herself outside the zone of engagement.
Cindy Dropper, nice effort to the inside right there. Torquemada gets around her, though, picks up 5 points and finishes her scoring pass. Back in the pack, the Toronto team is back up to full strength. Belfast finishing out her penalty time. Titmouse being knocked to the inside. Nice blocking right there. Rapid fire. Sometimes you don't get him with that initial hit, and you got to just keep putting that shoulder in.
Belfast working effectively there in a blocking roll, throws a hit on Torquemada, and at the back of the pack, Titmouse still struggles.
Titmouse working her way up to the front, one to beat, and she gets past her, but gets taken down hard around the turn. She gets back up, though, and she is out of there. She has been just ferocious in her tenacity. She has been knocked around a lot, and she is a smaller skater, relatively speaking, and she has taken a lot of beatings and really just kept on going.
A little bit of pain and distress on the face of Titmouse as she gets a little encouragement from her coach there, Derby Nerd.
Titmouse with 18 points so far, 2.25 points per jam, respectable. Nice average right there.
As you say, AK, that is respectable. She has done better work in the previous bouts of this tournament. However, they continue to rely upon Titmouse. Perhaps the Derby Nerd thinks she'll be able to pull off something bigger in the ensuing minutes.
All right, so Ballerina up against Mighty Thor, and a major illegal procedure going to Forest City. So we are going to see Glamour Kiss head off to the box, and it'll be a 4-on-3 in favor of the Bruisers. Slim.
Both jammers approach the pack. Ballerina through to the front at first, but she has a 3-wall in front of her. Freezer Burn and Marambo. She splits them, heads in between, and gains lead jam.
That was a great job right there by Ballerina. Two tough defenders up front, as well as working around Suffragette, who has had the number of a couple of the jammers in this game. She's lined up to take her on right now, but Ballerina, such great speed, cuts to the outside, but nice job by Forest City to anticipate that with their 3-wall spread across the track. Slim.
Mighty Thor takes a heavy hit from Monochrome and is now held in place near the front of the pack as Ballerina comes in as well. Ballerina was the one doing the holding, playing defensively and then calling off the jam.
That was a nice job right there. It looked like she was going to try and slow her up and get her re-enveloped back into the pack, but Mighty Thor just had the advantage, I think, on the step right there. And sometimes it is just that, one step advantage to get in front of that blocker.
We see the Forest City bench here. Mighty Thor there, wings on the helmet, of course.
Mjolnir is in her skate bag. 110-73 in favor of Toronto's Bay Street Bruisers. And we're getting going with this next jam right here. Slim, who do we have?
Looks like Andy Slamberg taking a turn on the jammer line for Forest City. And she has taken a track cutting penalty at exactly the wrong time. She will sit, and this is a power jam for the powerful Belfast of the Bay Street Bruisers, AK.
Wow, full box there for just a second for Forest City. They will get one of their blockers back. Belfast being taken out to the outside. Nice hit right there. She can't come in ahead of that skater because she was down, and then dodges a couple more, picks up 4 points and a no pass, no point on the girl that knocked her out. Meanwhile, Pack staying very active, working each other, trying to set up in position, awaiting the approach of Belfast, who springs to the outside, cuts back to the inside, and gets held up just a second. One skater to beat, and she does. You know what? The thing that's amazing about watching Belfast, and even Ballerina as well, is just how much they get hit and don't really shift their position. They can just solidly take hits where they're standing and keep on going, Slim.
We see the pack reforming there. Glamourkist, who previously hit Belfast, lays down another nice one, forces her to the inside of the oval. Belfast returns to the track behind Glamourkist, who put her out and proceeds to skate. Another penalty coming here. Anya Face will sit for Forest City. Andy Slamberg returns and is struck down immediately after returning from the penalty box. She was injured yesterday. However, she's back on her skates now, wearing that star helmet cover, jamming for Forest City, AK.
Taking a defensive turn with the approach of Belfast, trying to hold that inside line is Andy Slamberg. Gets up to the front, and she's got one to beat. She's going to push her out of the engagement zone, and she will go down. And Andy Slamberg is out. Meanwhile, back in the pack, Belfast finding some room on a spread out pack, and she will get through, call it off, and pick up 4 points for the Bruisers.
A lot of work there by Andy Slamberg after coming out of the penalty area. Took some heavy hits. Nothing to show for it on the scoreboard, unfortunately.
Yes, she was on a lonely island jamming out there.
Taking to the jammer line, Titmouse and Mighty Thor.
And we see Forest City taking a knee right there to start the jammers out. 2 skaters in the box for the Bruisers, 1 blocker in the box for Forest City. So a 3-2 advantage right now for Forest City, but wow, big hit right there. And Mighty Thor recovers nicely, picks up a minor cut and gets out, but is not lead jammer because she did pick up that minor cut.
Bradycardia signaling the track cutting minor penalty there, and there it is again, the symbol for track cutting, the X, as Mighty Thor skates on.
Titmouse picking up lead jammer, knocked to the outside, and she'll call it off right there. No points for either team. And right there you see Titmouse skating off, and you know, she hasn't put up a ton of points. Lead jam has not been one of her strong points in this game. She's just over 25%, but she has been crucial. She has done a great job filling the role of a third jammer. You know, Ballerina and Belfast have kind of taken the spotlight, but Titmouse has really been one of the integral cogs of that jammer rotation, Slim.
Canuck Derby TV wants to thank Delta Hotels and Resorts here in Guelph, Ontario for putting up our crew. Please visit www.deltahotels.com. AK.
Torquemada breaking through, picking up lead jammer right there. Mama must be proud. You know, her mom actually saw her for the first time ever playing Derby yesterday on Canuck Derby TV, and we welcome all you here. Right now we've got Ballerina trying to catch up to Torquemada. Torquemada, a little bit of an injury yesterday, and she'll put her hands on her hips where that injury was before either team. Oh, it looks like, wow, Ballerina again. Slim, I cannot extol it enough to all of you watching. Never give up until after the whistles are blown. 2 points picked up right there at the end, and we've got a timeout for Forest City.
Hey, if you folks are on rollerbug.com, as you should be if you're looking for fantastic roller derby equipment, don't forget to use the coupon code THRONE, that's THRONE. That will get you 15% off your next purchase at rollerbug.com.
Hey, Slim.
Yes, AK.
Holy Crap is the best cereal ever. Thanks to Holy Crap, the world's most amazing breakfast cereal. You know, it's made in paradise on the sunshiny coast of British Columbia with all natural ingredients. Find out more at www.holycrap.ca.
Thank you for those stirring words about Holy Crap, AK.
Right there, you see it. Holy Crap.
With 17 and a half minutes remaining, we're looking at a score of 130 for the Bay Street Bruisers, 77 for Forest City. You see the teams amassed there. They're taking advantage of a timeout to have a little chat about strategy.
That's right, and if you need to take a little bit of time out, you might want to book a stay at the Delta Hotels and Resorts. Delta Hotels putting up with your Canuck Derby TV crew this weekend here in lovely Guelph, Ontario. So if you want your own fantastic stay, head on over to deltahotels.com and book today.
Skaters returning to the track, Mighty Thor and Belfast on the jammer line for their respective teams. The Bay Street Bruisers take a knee. They want this jam to begin immediately. They are confident that Belfast can break through the wall. She heads to the inside as the jam begins. Mighty Thor goes to outside and is more successful. She has lead.
Nice job by Mighty Thor right there, getting some room and getting out. Belfast almost snuck out, but she is being hammered, staying up on her feet and just being hit from all angles right there. Great job by the Forest City pack. And you know what? I think that's the thing we have to look at right here. So Forest City's doing some great things in the pack. It's just they don't have a very deep jammer rotation. Their jammers have been doing well, but they're a little short. They've got Torquemada and Thor, and really that's been the story.
Absolutely, and I think that, they took good advantage of that previous timeout to give Thor a little bit of rest, which is what got her that lead jammer designation, but they can't take that many timeouts, having only been issued 3 for the contest.
That's right, Mighty Thor there breaking the pack on her scoring pass, picks up 4 points. Meanwhile, Belfast taking a header, flipping around, and when you take a fall like that, you got to own it. She's having some trouble right now, but she's got a giant smile on her face. Maybe she got her Belfast wrong.
Well said, AK. Some gentle ribbing going on the bench there over the Bay Street Bruisers as new skaters take to the track to begin another jam. Who've we got, AK?
Looks like we've got lined up back behind the jammer line. I can't see, I'm sorry. There are zebras in the way.
Torquemada and Titmouse.
Thank you. Torquemada, of course, in the white and red for Forest City. Titmouse in the navy for the Bruisers, getting out first, but not lead jammer. She cut somebody on her way through the pack, so that means Torquemada still could pick up lead jammer. She can pass everybody cleanly, Slim.
And she's at the front of the pack. Last line of defense, aims to kill, and Torquemada does gain lead.
Thinking about calling it off right there, but it looked like she rescinded her initial idea because Titmouse is headed to the box. We've got a power jam right now for Forest City, and this is a crucial one. Right there, Torquemada working that wall out, taking the inside lane, picks up 5 big points, grand slam. And if they want to get in a comeback trail, now's the time to do it with 15-15 left to play in this game.
Torquemada, excellent track awareness, receiving very vocal instruction from her bench that now was not the time to call off the jam. She, in fact, had a power jam, and now was the time to act. Torquemada is something of a hero in yesterday's bout for Forest City. A lot of weight was placed upon her shoulders, and she was up to the task, AK.
That's right, but now she's up to no good. She picked up a minor back block, and it was her 4th minor, so she's heading to the box now. What's going to happen is she's going to sit down, and Titmouse will be released from the box, so we don't have any of that no jammer action, and Torquemada will serve the equivalent amount of time that Titmouse already served. So essentially we're just cutting out the middle.
AK, this is one of the dangers of having such a small jammer pool, is that your jammers are constantly in the danger zone for getting that 4th minor penalty and going to the box, AK.
That's right, Titmouse out of the box through the pack. 5 points will go up, a grand slam like to call that one a go slam with the jammer in the box. For Titmouse and the Bruisers, full packs on the track right now, and a huge takedown. Titmouse coming up to the pack. It's sent to the middle, and that will end the jam. You know what? Looking back on that last jam as we see Titmouse go off to the box, talking to Derby Nerd real quick, is Torquemada wanted to call it off, and they said don't call it off. And sometimes you got to let the jammers, they might know something about themselves. Maybe she was getting tired, a little bit beat up right there, and she drew that penalty. Maybe she has the foresight to know when penalties will be called. Either way, she kept skating, and then she ended up going to the box. It might have been, woulda, coulda, shoulda, but sometimes maybe you call it off. I don't know.
As with many team sports, you're absolutely right, AK.
All right, we're going to take a quick breather. Stay with us here on Canuck Derby TV for the Dames of Thrones Championship.
It's not just about the shorts. It's about inspiring others. It's about having fun and making new friends. It's about getting hit down and getting back up again. It's about being a team. Pivot Star. It's about roller derby.
What are you doing? I think it's just like the padding.
Welcome back. Next jam in action. Ballerina picking up lead jammer right there.
Torquemada also on the track. She was out in front, did not gain lead. That goes to Ballerina, who gets herself ensconced into the center of the pack, is enduring some physical punishment from the defenders of Forest City.
Yeah, Dollface Massacre right there. Some great defense. But she does manage to pick up 4 points before it's all over, does Ballerina. And that will push their score up to 139. Forest City with 86 right now, and 13 minutes even left to play in this game. Not insurmountable is that lead. It is 53 points, but Slim, what do you think?
I think there's just under 13 minutes of anything can happen time on that clock, AK. Torquemada double shifting coming out again, and she will face Belfast in the next jam.
All right, we have an official timeout on the floor. I'd like to take this official timeout to thank, once again, AMJ Productions for putting all this on and allowing us to bring this amazing tournament to you, and it has been amazing, Slim.
AJ and his people, tremendous technical acumen. We really appreciate all their efforts to get our voices into your ear holes, folks.
That's right. Thanks, of course, to AJ and Johnny Capote working behind the scenes, and some of our camera crew people, Dr. Ninja High Death, and of course Bob Noxious, who has been, along with AJ, the mastermind of this production. And we hope you've been enjoying it here on Canuck Derby TV.
This is, of course, the Roller Derby Association of Canada Eastern Regional Championship Tournament. They call it Dames of Thrones. They say you skate or you die.
Indeed. The losers will all be executed at the afterbout party. So, skating for their lives right now, it's Torquemada jamming for Forest City up against, that's Belfast in the Navy with the star on her helmet. She will pick up lead jammer, and since Torquemada has a half-track advantage, she's going to call it off and say, I'm going to take a breather real quick and probably jam in and jammer too.
Torquemada picked up a minor back block penalty on her way out of the pack, and that disqualified her from gaining lead.
Speaking of penalties, the bench right there. On the other side, the box, there are two skaters, one from each team standing, meaning they have less than 10 seconds, and there is a blocker sitting for Forest City. So we're going to start this one out with a 3-on-2. It will quickly become a 4-on-3 both times. Oh, wait, we've got another one headed off to the box. So we're going to start out with a 3-on-1 in favor of Toronto.
Mischievous Lady T will sit there. She's lucky there's room for her to sit, as Mighty Thor has just about finished her penalty and is in that 10-second zone where she is permitted to stand. There's only room for 2 blockers and a jammer in that penalty area, this being the exception, as Mighty Thor, you see there, she is standing, and so there's room for 3 blockers at the moment.
The official timeout continues as, of course, even with a gap right now, this is still anybody's game, and the officials want to make sure that everything is right and proper, and that gives Forest City a chance to kind of reassess the situation. They're going to send out Suffragette as the lone blocker.
Suffragette, of course, wearing 317 in the white. She holds up Titmouse as long as she can, but she is only one blocker out there. Titmouse gains lead. Roses within the pack, getting hit by Lady Scorcher. You see Titmouse coming around there. She approaches the pack.
And Suffragette headed off to the box. Oh, 5-point grand slam right there for Titmouse. And the penalty trouble for Forest City has just been a rotating door. They are up to 2. Meanwhile, Rose is taken down hard right there, coming into turn 1.
Here comes Titmouse once again, using her teammates as a handhold. Perfectly legal for her to latch onto them by hand. And she whips herself through the pack, puts up 5 points, a grand slam for Titmouse. She's making up some serious points here and extending the Bay Street Bruisers lead.
That's right, Roses with a lot of difficulty getting out of there, but she did get a little bit of room, caught some speed on the outside, and she is out and around on her initial pass. 3-on-2 right now in favor of Toronto. And as the jammer Titmouse approaches, they will swoop into the inside. She'll have one to deal with. That's Mighty Thor. She'll take a little bit of a check from her, but roll around her, pick up 4 points, and call it off before Roses can score any.
See Titmouse return to the bench. Looking happy there. Congratulations from her teammate Monochrome.
And again, Titmouse has been kind of the stalwart of that jammer rotation. The other two putting up the big points, but a great jam right there. Maybe she had, during that little official timeout, maybe she had some holy crap and recharged her fuel cells.
We begin another jam. Torquemada faces Ballerina. Ballerina fights her way to the front of the pack, quickly gains lead, hand in the air pointing at her.
That's right, and I'd like to point out about her that she has scored 86 points, 63% of her team scoring, and right now the equivalent of Forest City's entire score has been put up by Ballerina for Toronto. She'll pick up a few more and call it off before Torque can get back around.
Some nice work there by 747. That aims to kill. You see her there standing beside the Derby nerd. She cleared for Ballerina, which allowed Ballerina smooth, passed it right through that pack.
I'd like to remind everybody that this event is not done as soon as this jam is over. Hang on right here with us on Canuck Derby TV, or if you happen to be on DNN, stay with us because we have the closing ceremonies, trophy presentation, and MVP announcements afterwards. After the bout, not the jam, of course. And getting this jam started is Forest City.
Anya Face skates forward, breaks open the pack, and the jam begins. Belfast moves her way to the front, tries to squeeze herself between Marambo, and Anya Face finally does so. Mighty Thor trailing in her wake. Belfast is lead.
Great job by Mighty Thor right there as she broke the pack, shrugging off a hit from Lady Scorcher, who can definitely lay some scorchers down when she is engaging those jammers. Belfast working her way around, takes a little shoulder check, passes 2, and she'll call it off. She will pick up 2 points, and no points for Forest City. Slim. And we see the benches right there. Forest City, the faces of Forest City not gleeful. Some smiles on the other side of things, though. Forest City down right now 155 to 86. 8 minutes left to play. Anything can happen right now because the Bay Street Bruisers getting into some penalty trouble. It's a 4-on-2 to start things out. Torquemada doing her best to pick up lead jammer, but here comes Titmouse. Got some room on the outside, and she's out first. Lead jammer, Bruisers.
Titmouse, you see her skating fast and free as she attempts to catch up with the pack. The pack moving very quickly, however. Torquemada now free also. You see her there in the white and red. Titmouse comes around. She is within the pack on her scoring run, runs up against the defenders of Forest City, and calls off the jam. Thinks better of it, but the die is cast, and the referee sees her hand signal, and she is called off the jam.
Hillary Tuff picking up a major high block right there for Forest City right at the end of that jam, and a well-timed but not well-placed hit on Titmouse.
Indeed. Do not go anywhere. As AK was mentioning, folks, there will be a medal or a trophy presentation, we should say, and a very special race we have for you.
That's right. You do not want to miss this. All right, back to the action on the track, though. Looks like we've got Ballerina up against Mighty Thor. Ballerina, number 905 in the Navy for Toronto, is just, she has really stood out. You see just the speed in her, and watch as she approaches the pack here. Everybody trying to break things up, both teams fighting for position. You see her skates right there, just so fluid in her movement, stands up at the end, takes a little bit of a breather, puts her hands on her hips with some class and style, and that's the end of that jam.
And although Mighty Thor was grabbed bodily by Roses and whipped forward, that did not give her enough speed to catch Ballerina. Unsurprisingly, on the jammer line for Forest City, we have Torquemada once again, and she will face another usual suspect, Belfast.
Quick start from Toronto right now with a 4-on-3 pack advantage. Belfast is trying to sneak through on the outside, but there was somebody there waiting for her. Marambo keeps with her out of the turn, and just great job by Belfast to stay on her feet, shrugging off Marambo's advances, and she is lead jammer for Toronto Slim.
Cindy Dropper rubs Torquemada off the side of the track. Torquemada, however, maintains her integrity on her skates, continues forward in the pack. Hit once again, though. Cindy Dropper bedeviling Torque in this particular jam.
Taking her down right there, and Cindy Dropper is probably, yep, she is off to the box for low blocking. Meanwhile, Marambo out of the pack, but a grand slam being scored by Belfast right there on that scoring pass.
Torquemada giving chase. No quit in Torquemada. She's been relied upon very heavily in this bout. Belfast approaches the pack once again. Tries to determine if she can get one or two more before calling off the jam. She just does so right now.
And it's going on a bit of a defensive streak right here. It's been at least 6 jams since Forest City has scored. Standing pat right now with 86 points to the 168 of the Bruisers, with 4:42 remaining in this game. And it ain't sewn up yet, but it's looking pretty good right now for Toronto.
Forest City playing the hand they have been dealt. They are short one jammer. Box Kick Betty, of course, in attendance here at this tournament, but has not played. She has a concussion. She is one of their usual jammers, and they miss her right now as Mighty Thor takes another hit from Lady Scorcher, has trouble negotiating the front of the pack.
But she does successfully do so and will pick up lead jammer in getting her way out. And of course, Forest City, hopefully they will have her back healed and maybe a couple other people trained up to jam by the spring, because they will be going to the championship tournament.
You are correct, AK. Both of these teams have qualified. This is for pride this evening. Titmouse catches up with the pack. Does not manage to steal any points. 2 more for Forest City.
That's
as
right.
The jam is called.
Yeah. Did not score on that call off, but you can't question the effort of Titmouse at the end right there. Titmouse up to 41 points, 3.15 points per jam. So Titmouse having a little bit of a tough start, but she's just been consistent, and that consistency bred an opportunity for her to come through in the clutch, and being the veteran that she is, she really pulled it off.
Absolutely. She is part of a team, part of a 3-jammer rotation that the Bay Street Bruisers seem to have relied upon in this contest. Forest City with 2, Torquemada and Mighty Thor, and those ladies must be getting tired. Fatigue has to play a role here, AK.
Indeed. It's been a long tournament for both of these teams. Forest City a little less long, but Ballerina, I mean, what can you say about number 905 in the Navy and Gold for Toronto? You know, she has done a ton of jamming, and she just looks fresh as a spring daisy.
She comes around again. She is on her scoring pass now, approaching the pack.
Big hit right there. Nice job up front. The defensive efforts of Toronto have not gone unnoticed. Torquemada has being held back. This has just been a one-on-one battle between those two, and Torque will go off as her assailant heads to the box.
Andy Slamberg and Nunya Biz holding up Ballerina, doing a good job of that as they swarm her.
Oh, huge takedown right there. And,
that was
wow.
Nunya Biz just plowing into Ballerina, knocks her down, forces the call off of the jam. Ballerina quickly back to her skates, looking none the worse for wear.
The best part of that was, like, even though she just got the snot knocked out of her, she got up and said, yeah, I want my 4 points. That was 4, right? All right, and if you want 15% off at rollerbug.com, head on over there right now. Type in coupon code THRONE, that's THRONE, and you can get a 15% discount at rollerbug.com.
Torquemada has left the track. You see her there. She is lying down in the vestibule behind the bench there. I hope she is merely just taking a breather. However, Torquemada, one of only 2 jammers that Forest City has been using in this contest, has taken herself out of play, at least momentarily. You see the Forest City bench. She is being spoken to by one of her teammates. This has not gone undetected. Coach for Forest City having a word with Torquemada.
She is breathing pretty heavily right there. The EMTs have not been called over, so I don't think it's an injury. I think she may just be a little bit winded and need to catch her breath.
Play continues.
Roses jamming for Forest City, and she's up against Belfast for Toronto. I'd like to mention the both teams with 3 blockers on the track. Marambo in the box for Forest City has 2 minutes. So the advantage, assuming no penalties get called, will go to Toronto as soon as that box clears out. And the advantage right here on the floor going to Belfast, lead jammer for the Bruisers, Slim.
Rose is still tied up in the pack. She's having trouble. We have been unfair to her by not mentioning her as one of the jammers utilized by Forest City, but she has had little success against the hard-hitting defense of the Bay Street Bruisers. As Belfast continues to skate, she approaches the pack once again on a scoring pass.
That's right. It's a race to the finish right here. Belfast getting around a couple, calling it off, and she will get 2 points, 1 for one skater on the floor, 1 for Marambo in the box. And with 24 seconds remaining, we've got a timeout right now for Forest City. Score right now 174-88, and we'd like to remind all of you to hang out not only for the trophy presentation and the announcement of the MVPs, but for our very special presentation of a super secret and super fun race. All right, folks, 24 seconds remain. See right there, you see Forest City. There's Torquemada sitting up, and looks like she is okay. Glad to see that. She is still breathing pretty heavy. I mean, we'll have to check the stats, but she jammed a bulk of this game between her and Thor. Right now, you see the bench right there.
Very special thanks to Rollerbug.com. They were founded in 2005 and Derby owned and operated. Rollerbug was one of Canada's first roller skate shops. Located in Toronto, but found worldwide at www.rollerbug.com. Don't forget 15% off your next purchase. Use the code THRONE.
There we see Torquemada on the bench, back vertical, and now sitting down. Still breathing, not labored, but just deeply.
Glad to see her on the bench. However, Roses. No, we have a new skater for Forest City taken to the jammer line. It's Glamour Kist. She faces Titmouse. Glamour Kist has removed her helmet cover. She is attempting to pass it to her pivot. We have an attempted star pass. She gives it to Mighty Thor. Mighty Thor receives it, but Titmouse has lead jammer status as Mighty Thor still at the back of the pack, the newly crowned jammer of the Forest City Derby Girls.
Interesting strategic choice right there. I think they just did that to try it out more than anything, because why wouldn't you just start with Thor in the jammer line, maybe to throw off the other team? Mighty Thor still trying to work her way through right there, gets sent to the outside by Canuck, and she will force a major cut, so Mighty Thor is headed off to the box. Meanwhile, Titmouse going to call it off right there, and that, folks, is the end of our game. Unofficial final stands at 174-88 in favor of your Bay Street Bruisers. You see them right there, all smiles. Lightning Slim, what do you got for us?
I am familiar with the Forest City Derby Girls, AK, and in terms of that star helmet cover pass in the dying seconds of the game, this is a league that is not adverse to having a little fun, and I thought they might just try it.
Why the heck not? All right, congratulations right here to the Bay Street Bruisers representing the Toronto Roller Derby League, victorious in the championship bout 177-88 over the Forest City All-Stars. You see them making their victory lap there.
And of course, shaking hands, high fives shared with their opponents, now going for a skate of their own. The Forest City Derby Girl All-Stars, here they come in the white. The crowd no less lusty in their appreciation for these opponents.
That's right. Great effort from both of these teams and great bouts all weekend. You know, Toronto yesterday, an amazing game. Forest City as well, taking down their opponent, the hometown Royal City Girls, who came in third place in a great third and fourth place game. Absolutely amazing. And congratulations to Guelph, Forest City, and Toronto, our respective 3, 2, and 1 in this tournament.
I think the difference in this particular bout, AK, was simply depth of jammer pool.
Yeah.
The Bay Street Bruisers had a few dedicated jammers by birth, you would say, on their roster, and the Forest City Derby Girls forced with a short bench to sort of do it by committee and maybe not so deep in that position, having a bit of trouble, and that's when you get into penalty trouble as well.
Indeed, Slim. And you see right there, class from both of these two teams, all the skaters going in, thanking the officials. And, of course, thanks to all the officials who came out and volunteered this weekend, whether referees or non-skating officials, and, of course, everybody working behind the scenes to put this on. And a great tournament it has been. You know, 7 teams, 10 games, and just a heck of a lot of great derby here in Eastern Canada. Ontario has shown itself to be a hotbed of roller derby.
Absolutely. The sport has been exploding here. Many leagues, more every day. I see unfamiliar league names every time I take a look at the list of derby rosters, and I think it's all to the good. More men and women skating in this fabulous sport of modern roller derby, bringing together communities because it is a very DIY sport, AK.
Indeed it is. Well, folks, what a great, DIY, the efforts from all these teams and from everybody, even here at Canuck Derby TV, and we got to give huge thanks to Delta Hotels and Resorts, and we're going to send it over to a very special race right now.
Hi, this is Bob Noxious, and I'm coming to you from beautiful Canada, and I'm staying in this great hotel. I'm staying in Delta, but you know what? It's just not quite roller derby. So what we decided to do is to bring to you the Delta Dash of Destruction. 3, 2, 1, go! And we got a second whistle. They're off and running. It looks like Red is trying to hold back Black. Red Jammer trying to move around to the outside. She gets knocked around. They're going to come around through to the second turn. And down the back straight. Red Jammer struggling. Black Jammer, oh, look at that. Nice seal block to the outside. And oh my God, that one's going to hurt. And as they come around to the other corner, oh, AK, what do you see? What's going on, brother?
It's a tight pack right here coming around turn 3 into turn 4. Right now, Black Pack up in front. Black Jammer trying to work her way through right now. She's got up to the front. That red team needs to get up and get into the action and take down that Black Jammer. Here comes the Red Jammer, though. She's working her way through. Oh, one-on-one. She's juking left, juking right. Take it around. Here they come, Bob.
The Black Packers out in front. Red is trying to take over the front. And as we watch, the Black Jammer's going to come around turn 1 and 2. And Red Jammer's going to get stuck in the middle. AK, they're coming your way. What do you see?
Here they come. They're coming through the doors on turn 3. Looks like Lex in the lead, but there's a big pack of red skaters up front. They're keeping it tight. Those Jammers trying to fight their way through right now. Red has the lead in the pack. Keeping it tight, keeping it tight. Here they come.
Okay, so they're coming around for the second lap. I can see them now. They're coming around turn 4 right now. We got the black pivot out in front. We got 2 red blockers. Well, it looks like red is starting to split this thing up. And they're going to build a wall in front of the other jammer. Oh my God, I thought it was going to get run over. And going into the second turn, it looks like the black jammer's finally starting to break free.
All right, here they come around turn 3 right now. Turn 3, Black Jammer making a break for it right now. Great job by the red team, but she got around. She is out in front. It's El Hor.
Oh, we got the black jammer out in front, and she's going to get to the finish line, and black wins. Oh, yeah. Black jammer's going to win. I don't think we want to stick around and see how the rest of this works out. Holy cow. Oh my God, what a race. We haven't seen anything like that since the Dust Devil back in the old days. Oh, my heart's pounding. I hope you guys enjoy that as much as I did. That was spectacular. I love this place.
And thanks again to Delta for letting us, well, not letting us do that, but for not kicking us out. We are back here, the trophy presentation. Congratulations to the top 3 teams in the East region. The Bay Street Bruisers representing Toronto.
And of course, the silver designation, second place going to the Forest City Derby girls, third going to the host league, the Royal City Roller Girls, the Bruteleggers. You see before us there some of the happy chaos that usually ensues at the ending of one of these events.
We thank all of you for joining us here on Canuck Derby TV. Have to give thanks again, of course, to Delta Hotels for putting us up, rollerbug.com and Skate Shop in Toronto for helping support this broadcast, as well as Holy Crap, the most amazing breakfast cereal ever made by anybody ever for all time. All right, we're going to take one more quick break and be back and wrap things up here at the Dames of Thrones.
What are you doing? I think it's just like the cabin.
It's not just about the shorts. It's about inspiring others. It's about having fun and making new friends. It's about getting hit down and getting back up again. It's about being a team. Pivot Star. It's about roller derby.
All right, folks, thanks for sticking with us here on Canuck Derby TV. I am AK40 Ounce here with Lightning Slim, and what a fun weekend it's been, Slim.
Absolutely. Beautiful downtown Guelph, of course. The Royal City Roller Girls, tremendously hospitable, and what a great place the Sleeman Center has been to conduct such an event. And I think we are not the only ones who had a really great time, AK.
All right, we're going to send it over to Bob Noxious right now on the floor for the final presentation here.
We want to bring out the MVPs for the Dolly Rogers. So the Hound, who is your badassness, and actually in the U.S. I think that is the title. We want to give this to Sneaky Deaky. Unfortunately, on behalf of Sneaky Deaky, I just want to say she played really well. As well as yes, and of course the Mother of Dragons then was voted on by the announcers to be Delegate Plowher, who we will also have to accept on her behalf. All right. So our number 6th ranked team, Sister Slag, who myself and AMJ and a bunch of us have to give thanks to anyway. Hopefully you get to see the wild commercial we cut yesterday. Sister Slag, we want the Hound. Your badassness is animal. And badass on the track, very sweet otherwise, obviously. And the announcers for the Mothers of Dragons, we chose one of three sisters, El Hor. Congratulations, well earned. And for our 5th ranked team, GTA Roller Girls, the G-Stars, the team voted for the Hound, and that turns out to be Paper Jam. You're going to want to get the tape because there's a lot of Paper Jam cuts through the pack just to put a little alcohol in the wound. All right, and for your Mother of Dragons, and the name fits so well with Newfie Bullet. What a great weekend. Congratulations. You were the announcer MVP. That's a shot I wouldn't want to take. And working our way to the Misfit Militia, who had a wonderful, wonderful run. You should be very proud. The Hound, as chosen by the team, is Mad Megs. Mad Megs, come on down. You were voted as your team, by your team, as your team's MVP. And for the Misfit Militia, the Mother of Dragons, the announcers voted on Randy Rowland. Congratulations, nice job. I think there's a couple people here that have heard of the Bootleggers. That's right. And the team, the Hound they voted for, Kim's Car Smashin'. Nice job, what a great weekend.
Our Mother of Dragons award is kindly donated by the Dragon. They get a full box of comic books. Yeah!
And for the Bootleggers, the announcers voted Mother of the Dragons, I believe you know her as Hot Cross Guns. Congratulations. Again, a great, great performance. Guns, 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 guns. For Forest City, the Hound, as voted on by the team, was Sociopath. And the announcers, Mothers of Dragons Award, the MVP for the team for Forest City goes to Torquemada.
Thank you, Dominion Skates, for all of these amazing prizes.
Absolutely. And okay, let's talk Toronto here. Let's talk about the Bay Street Bruisers. It's kind of hard for me because I come from Bruce City Bruisers. I don't want to get that all mixed up for you, Derby Nerd. The Hound, the MVP voted on by the team, who also gets a Dominion Skates prize, is the one, the only Ballerina. Incredible performance this weekend. What a pleasure to watch. Feel like there should be some drum roll to build the tension here. The announcers for your tournament-winning Bay Street Bruisers voted as Mother of Dragons, the team MVP in our eyes was Canuck. Congratulations. Anything else you need? All right, we need the captain and the coach of Toronto's. I might know who these people are. Yeah, Derby Nerd, that's you, dude. A Derby Nerd and Downright Dirty Dawson. What is the name of the trophy? What's the name of the trophy? That is the Game of Thrones trophy. Be very, very careful. I picked one up for a photo once and it fell apart. It wasn't here, but it was a horrible thing. Do we have? Yeah.
I just want to say thank you so much, Dominion Skates. They really gave us what we needed for this tournament to make the prizes worth it. Dominion Skates, please buy your skates there.
Okay, everybody. Congratulations, Toronto. Thank you for everybody that participated, for all the volunteers, but especially thank you to Royal City. Thank you to all of you in Guelph that worked so hard, made this such a great time for all of us to participate in. We had a blast. We know how much work goes into it. Jess, thank you. Thank you. RDAC, I want to thank also, and we will call that a wrap. Why don't we go to a party?
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the conclusion of Dames of Thrones, the RDAC Eastern Regional Championships. For Canuck Derby TV, we give our hearty congratulations to the victors, the Bay Street Bruisers, second place Forest City Derby Girls, and third place the Bootleggers of the Royal City Roller Girls. My name is Lightning Slim, and for AK 40 Ounce, we'd like to say we'd love to see you here next year. Right, AK?
Absolutely. Congratulations again, and thanks to AMJ, Canuck Derby TV, and DNN for picking up this broadcast, and of course, Royal City for hosting. Slim, let's send it out. 3, 2, 1. Have a great night.
Take care.